Well, mental health issues affect us all on a daily basis. An organization called Beyond Madness is raising awareness on this issue. Wide-ranging topics that impact communities are covered in a podcast with the aim to understand and provide support to those in need. To discuss this further now, I'm joined by Professor Christopher Szabo from Beyond Madness. And Prof, thank you for your time. Good morning to you. I want to talk about the significance of Beyond Madness and its place in society in making sure that we continue to normalize and have conversations around mental health.
Well, I think that, first of all, just to a slight correction, it's not an organization, Beyond Madness. It's the name of the podcast, Beyond Madness. Certainly, I think what Beyond Madness does is it hosts conversations between psychiatrists, psychologists, mental health professionals, and anybody else who's a thought leader, depending on the issue that we are discussing. So I think what we're doing is we are putting these topics out there. And I think that as much as one might be concerned that because it's about psychiatry, it's going to be too technical, we make sure that everything is really very accessible because we want to reach beyond professionals. We want to reach to a much broader audience. I mean, every individual who suffers from a mental illness, besides themselves, have friends, family, colleagues, are part of a broader community. So I think the issue is to reach as many people as possible in terms of providing them with some insights into what the discipline is. I think there are many stereotypes around psychiatry, around psychiatrists, around mental illness. And I think what we really attempt to do is show that it's a very thoughtful discipline. It's a very holistic discipline. We operate under the ethos of the biopsychosocial approach. We're also very conscious of spiritual aspects of an individual's life and their being. So I think it's an opportunity to really pull back the curtain, so to speak, and to go beyond madness, to go behind the scenes and provide listeners with an idea about what psychiatry is all about beyond whatever they might think.
Prof, I find it very, significant, the name Beyond Madness. And it stands out for me because growing up as a child in a township where there were people who struggled with mental illness, as children were often told, don't go next to this person because they're mad. Don't go next to this person because they're mad. But you are saying the conversation is to go beyond madness. Take me through your decision in naming it Beyond Madness. And what is the thought process, I suppose, behind this? Because when I saw it, it just immediately took back to when I was a little girl in primary school in creche and being told that person is mad, they're dangerous, don't go next to them.
Well, I think that the title of the podcast is provocative, right? It captures your attention and you're thinking, what is he talking about? Madness, is that an acceptable term? I mean, there's a recently published book by a colleague of mine, a friend and colleague, Sean Bowman, called Madness. And it's about tales of uncertainty and hope for those who suffer from mental illness. So I think we're also destigmatizing the term in that sense, but we want to go behind stereotypes because you're thinking, well, psychiatric illness, madness. Well, yes, I suppose if you are looking at individuals who are out of touch with reality, there's a certain madness, but there's madness everywhere in society. There's a madness of daily living, some of the things that really get to you and impact upon your mental health. So I think madness is not just something that you apply to somebody with a psychiatric illness or a mental illness. There's a much broader use of the term and how we see it playing out in society. So the issue of Beyond Madness is to say, right, that's what you may think about psychiatry and what psychiatry is. Let's go beyond that. And let's look at mental illness in its fullness. Let's look at the people who deal with mental illness. Who are they? What do they think? It's a very thoughtful discipline because it's a very deep discipline. We're looking at the individual as a whole. As I said earlier, we take a biopsychosocial approach in terms of how we understand illness, how we understand care. And so, we have to really get into the specifics of an individual's life, the context. Who are they? Where do they come from? Who are their family? What are their circumstances? So it's not just a tick box exercise. You've got a mental illness. There's your treatment. Off you go. It's much more than that.
Listen, this is one podcast I definitely encourage everyone to definitely put on their list and listen to. Prof, and thank you for talking to us about this Beyond Madness. Prof. Christopher Szabo, thank you for joining me right here on the South African Morning.